Everybody, and welcome to Odoo Experience 2025. Thanks so much for joining my talk, where we'll be discussing the integrated checkout and sign for Perfect Golf event with Odoo e-commerce. First off, I want to give you a brief introduction. So my name is Nemo. I'm the Director of Operations for Sodexis. Sodexis is the Odoo partner that helped Perfect Golf event with their Odoo implementation of this e-commerce self-checkout experience. So first off, a little bit about Perfect Golf Event. So Perfect Golf Event helps golf event organizers have a more successful golf event and raise more money through technology, innovative event formats, and exciting fundraising contests. They assist groups looking to organize, manage, and market a fundraising golf event, beginning with a free website and scaling up as necessary. Organizations benefit in three main areas: attracting more players, selling more sponsorships, and ultimately raising more money. So a little bit more about their organization. They were founded in 2015. They have a little over 10 employees. They're going to host 5,000 events in 2025. And they have over $50 million in event player and sponsor registrations processed with the help of their website software products in 2025. So that's part of that is in Odoo, and they're hoping in the future more of that will be in Odoo. They also integrate with the Perfect Silent Auction to help their clients raise even more money. So now that you know a little bit about Perfect Golf Event and what they actually do, what their organization is all about, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about their Odoo journey. So they first started with Odoo v14 in 2021, and they've been hosted on Odoo.sh since the beginning. They contacted us at Sodexis to help them manage their migration to v17 in late 2024. Post-migration, we've really been collaborating with them to customize and streamline their entire sales, purchasing, and e-commerce self-service experience based on the Odoo customer portal, which is what I'll be demoing for you a little bit later today. Some of the major other customizations we've done for them are their insurance rate calculator, which we launched at the beginning of 2025, and also the tax cloud integration enhancements. So Sodexis is the official tax cloud partner in the United States, and we've been maintaining, migrating, and improving the tax cloud connector since v17 of Odoo. And Perfect Golf Event is one of our users with the tax cloud connector, and they've been helping us sponsor some of the enhancements and improve the connector over the last year now. So today's demo will be focused specifically on the Odoo sales application. And so first I want to give you a little bit of context about what's the problem the customer encountered and why we decided to go with this customized self-serve workflow to help improve their systems. Perfect Golf Event manages multiple sales channels, including Odoo, WooCommerce, and their own web storefront. Historically, their internal quoting process was spread across many different apps and tools. So this might resonate with some of you in the audience today, but they were using things like Excel, DocuSign, and email communication. And at every step in the process, there was administrative overhead where their team had to be involved manually in the process with like intaking the incoming information and then manually moving the user to the next step down the pipeline. So in order to simplify all their workflows and really try to keep everybody on the same page and kind of remove any silos in their process, they decided to centralize that entire workflow in one place, that place being Odoo. Now, in terms of their deciding factors, when they were considering where to centralize this information and where to build this workflow, they looked at several different options, but they ended up deciding to go with Odoo because they saw that it was a fully integrated solution across multiple applications involved, including CRM, sales, purchase, website, and the sign application, which you'll be seeing during today's demo. They also really appreciated that Odoo is integrated right out of the box with the Sodexis connector to Tax Cloud for all of their tax management. And finally, they saw in the long term the ability to integrate accounting in the future and kind of consolidate all of their financial reports in one place as one of the added long-term benefits of Odoo. They also are considering in the future maybe connecting to WooCommerce or some other third-party solutions where they also have kind of sales channels set up already today. Now, in terms of their implementation, so we did an extensive kind of spec and workflow diagram for this particular workflow. As you're going to see in the demo, there's multiple insurance products that Perfect Golf Event is selling for the different events that they're helping to set up. And based on the type of insurance product, there's different insurance rates that need to be calculated, and then there's a different kind of self-checkout workflow in terms of the information we have to collect from the customers, the information we ask the customers to review in terms of e-learning videos that we ask them to watch, and then eventually the contracts that we ask them to sign. And so we really went through first a detailed kind of audit and analysis phase to interview the key users, understand their requirements of their workflow, and then eventually to transform those into a seamless workflow for the end user in Odoo. We also had quite a bit of testing through our UAT, or user acceptance testing phase, and we did iterative feedback and improvements to the system. And right now, Perfect Golf Event is wrapping up their 2025 busy season, and then during their less busy season in the coming months, they're planning to roll out this workflow to all of their events starting in 2026. So without further ado, let's actually jump into the demo. So here's an overview of what the demo is going to look like. So first, we're going to start in the back end of Odoo, and we're going to impersonate a sales team member from the Perfect Golf Event team. We're going to create a quotation for a customer for a couple different insurance products for one of their upcoming events. Then we're going to send the quotation to the customer for their review and payment. At that point, we're going to switch to the customer portal view, and we're going to impersonate that customer. We're going to review the quote and sign and pay it. Then we're going to fill in the tournament information. We're going to see the obligatory e-learning video that's required for the putting event insurance products. And then we're going to sign multiple terms and conditions documents for each insurance product that we just purchased. So the idea here is that in the Odoo-based workflow, we can create a quote, obviously, with products. We can send it to customers. They can sign and pay it. And then that's it. The sales order is confirmed. And everything else you would do in an Odoo-based database, you'd have to manually follow up about the contracts for signature, about the e-learning videos that need to be watched, all these different things. And we've actually created a seamless workflow where a user can do this by themselves. And we, on the PGE side, we can just review the status of that sales order and make sure that those key steps are done by the customer. So in order to really give you a good idea of the difference between the Odoo-based workflow and what we developed for Perfect Golf Event, I'm actually going to first show you very briefly the Odoo-based workflow in V17. So here we'll switch to one of our Odoo test databases, again, where there's no customization. And so we'll come here to the sales application. We'll go ahead and just create a new quote. So we're going to create a quote for Abigail today, and we're just going to add any random products from our test database. So this looks pretty good. So now we're going to send by email this quote for a table to Abigail. We'll just use the Odoo-based template, and it has here the PDF attachment. But one thing that you don't see is that we're also sending the external contact, Abigail, a link to view that quote and eventually sign and pay it through the customer portal integrated with the Odoo website. So in order to mimic this for the demonstration, I'll just click on the preview button. And now this is the portal view of that quote. It's the front end user experience of that quote. So we can review the quote, all the details. We can eventually provide feedback, like writing a message here. If, for example, we wanted to order 2 tables instead of 1, we could give that feedback to the salesperson and make sure they update the quote. For the simplicity's sake today, we'll just go ahead and sign and pay. So we'll go ahead and sign this, and then we'll just pay it with a demo payment method that we've set up in the database. And that's it. There you go. Our customer has reviewed the quote, signed it, and now if we switch back to the back end of Odoo, we'll see that we have a sales order, a confirmed sales order. So we went from the draft quotation, we put it into quotation sent when we sent the email to the customer, and now they've confirmed it through the customer portal, so it's confirmed. Super simple. Let's see now what the user experience looks like for Perfect Golf Event. So I'll switch now to a demo database for Odoo Experience 2025 for Perfect Golf Event, and we'll go ahead and first show you what we customized on the products. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this whole use case is about managing the additional requirements that Perfect Golf Event has for insured products. So they help their end customers manage golf events to raise money for nonprofits or for corporations, and part of that process is providing insurance for the events. The reason why they need to provide insurance is because the way these golf events work is that you might have like a hole-in-one competition where if somebody hits a hole-in-one, you need to pay them $1 million. So they don't want to have to secure $1 million in funding and have $1 million sitting in the bank in order to pay somebody out in case somebody actually hits the hole-in-one and wins the event. So instead, what they do is they use partners like Perfect Golf Event to actually insure their events and make sure, if somebody actually wins the event and gets the $1 million prize, that the insurance pays it out. So these are the products that Perfect Golf Event is selling. So these are insurance products underwritten by third-party insurance companies. So what we did in Odoo to make this as configurable as possible for the customers, we built on the Odoo base features. So we, instead of hard coding, insured product hole-in-one, insured product putting, all these things, instead we built off of the Odoo-based product configurations. So we have these products, and we added a Boolean is insurance product to identify the ones to which this specific workflow are associated with. And then this is how we configure all the requirements for the videos to watch and the contracts to sign in the self-checkout workflow. And so then the other thing we did in the configurations is we have here under the configurations menu, we have the option to define the insurance rate schedule. So the insurance companies, you can view Perfect Golf Event as kind of a middleman here in the insurance process. And so the insurance companies that actually provide the service, they obviously have their own rates. And we can import that information into Odoo in order to make sure the pricing and the rates that we review before we send the quote are accurate. In this case, for the demo purposes, we provided all fake data and all fake prices for the rates. And then you can also review under the insurance rates the full list based on the schedule that you configure. You can view the full list of all the prices to basically verify that everything looks correct there. We also have the distances. So you'll see in a moment, obviously for a hole-in-one, the distance is very clear because you know where you're going to start and you know where the hole is. But for the other ones, like for putting events or for a shootout, which is where you're trying to hit the ball as far as possible, then the prize money and the awardees is dependent on how far the putting is. Like the further you have to putt to get it in the hole, obviously the higher the prize money might be, or the longer the shootout distance is, then the higher the prize money might be. So this is a little bit about the configurations in the back end, and I hope you can see here how we really tried to develop a solution that makes the customer independent in the future. If in the future they have another type of product or another type of event that they want to insure, they can easily add it and configure it themselves without having to ask the Sodexis team for help. Now let's go ahead and actually build a quote. So we'll come here and we'll build a quote for Azure Interior with Colleen. So here we added a link to the event, so we can link to, in this case, a golf tournament that we have going on here today, for example. And then here in the sales order lines or the quote lines, one of the things that we customized is we added this option to add an insurance product. So if we click here, you'll see a pre-filtered list with the 3 insurance products that we've configured in the system. So let's do one for putting. Here we have to say how many attempts we can do for that putting event, and then we can fetch our distances. So again, this is something that we configured in the configurations that I mentioned, where for the different products, there's different distances that are possible. Here we've just configured one example with a 50-foot putt, which sounds pretty difficult to me. And then you can fill in the prize value. So let's say it's a $25,000 prize if we can hit a 50-foot putt within 10 attempts. And then here you can see the rate is made up, the premium is made up. That looks pretty high for insuring this amount, but you can just imagine how all that math happens in the background based on the information that we've included in the rate schedule. Great, so we'll add that one. We'll also add a second product, for example, a shootout. And so again, we can do 15 attempts and we'll get the distances again in this one. So here we'll do $1 million prize, why not? And we have different minimum distances for the different types of participants. And again, here you can see the price, the rate, and the premium, which would be calculated through the back end. So we'll go ahead and confirm those two. And then just like before, we can send this via email. In the interest of time, I'll just jump straight to the preview. So again, this is the preview of the quote that the customer receives in the email that we send them. And so from here, they can go ahead and sign. We'll have to add a price. That's also important. So we'll come back to the back end. So one of the things that's important is as we're configuring the products, we'll see based on the insurance rate schedule, the price from the underwriter of the insurance, and then we at PGE, we need to fill in the price that we're going to charge the customer manually, which you can assume would include a margin, obviously, for the service of doing the coordination of the insurance. So in this case, I'll fill in the price, and then we'll try again through the preview. And now, of course, there's a price associated with the quote, so we can sign and pay it online. So here, we'll just go ahead and sign and pay with this demo payment method. Great, and now that the internet has caught up with us, we can see you're not done yet. Please fill in more information about your event at this link. And so we can click here on this link in this warning message, or we can click here on the left side in the button for insurance details. I'll go ahead and just click it here. And now we can see some very important instructions that let us know that we need to input more information about our event, and we need to continue this self-serve checkout process. So we're going to go ahead and identify the golf course at which we're going to be hosting this event. Then also for each product that's being insured, for each event that's being insured, we have to identify the holes at the golf course where we're going to be doing this. And then in this case, we're now going to be redirected to a video about the putting contest. So the idea here is that building again on the Odoo-based framework, we've integrated via the e-learning app. We have integrated a insured putting contest YouTube video that basically explains exactly what's insured in this case. And so the idea is that the user has to watch this video, and then near the end, it will give them the code that they need to fill in at the bottom of the page in order to continue. So they'll fill in that code from the video to confirm that they watched the video, and now they need to sign the contracts. In this case, since we added 2 insured products to the quote that they signed, they need to sign 2 different contracts, 1 for each type of insurance. So we'll just click to start and skip to the bottom to sign. So again, these are just mock templates that we populated in the demo database. And then we can send it to ourselves, obviously, if we want to have a copy of it. And so after this signature, it'll ask us to sign the final contracts for the second insurance product. And then we'll be at the end. Great, so as you can imagine, before we put in place this workflow, every single one of these steps required manual interaction and manual communication with the customer, manual follow-up. Now, instead, all of this information is available in this self-serve checkout directly in the customer portal, and PGE is going to save a lot of time on the administrative side and not having to follow up and do all of these steps manually. In the back end on the quote, which is now a sales order since it's been signed, we can find all of the key details about the insurance, including the terms and conditions status, which is signed, and all of the information about the premiums and the different products that were selected, as well as many other settings and features, which I don't have time to review in detail today. And so that's it for the demo. Obviously, like most of our customers, PG&E is not done with their Odoo implementation. We're advising them in a phased approach on how to improve their Odoo implementation, and they have other things planned on their roadmap for the future, such as purchase and accounting improvements in the last quarter of this year, and then they're also considering doing a WooCommerce integration potentially next year. Finally, a couple brief points about Sodexis. So Sodexis has been an Odoo partner since 2012, and we're 100% specialized in Odoo. We have over 50 business analysts, developers, bookkeepers, system admins, DevOps engineers who are ready to help you with any kind of Odoo project that you might have. Our objective is always to help our customers get the best return on investment out of their Odoo and out of their implementation. And so we will always challenge our customers and advise them in an honest and transparent way to help them implement the workflows that make sense for them and customize the workflows that make sense for them while using the Odoo base for everything else when and if possible. And with that, I welcome any questions you might have about the implementation we did for a Perfect Golf event. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a few questions here. How long did it take to migrate them?
Migrate them. Okay, so for the migration, we didn't do the full migration. We just jumped in like in the last couple months to get them over that last hump that their prior partner couldn't get them fully live in their new implementation. So we only helped them in the end for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and then we did all of the post-migration support and all that. So I honestly don't know off the top of my head how long they worked on that migration prior to meeting us. We actually got this customer because of the Tax Cloud connector. They came to us and just wanted to implement the Tax Cloud connector in V17 as they were migrating to V17. And through our conversations with them, we realized that there were a lot of synergies possible, and they decided to switch their migration project to the Sodexis team as well.
Okay. How long did it take to do the customization?
Great question. So all in, I think we're right around 120 hours for that entire workflow, from the audit interview phase, the assessment, to writing the specs, reviewing the specs with them, and then the iterations that we've had. So wow. Yeah, to be clear, there's a lot of things that I didn't show you today that we did. You may have noticed briefly on the screen, there's that insurance details tab on the quote that shows a lot of different features and functionalities that we implemented, a lot of different controls, automated reminder emails. There's also a feature that enables you to resume. So if you quit at any point in the process and then you come back, you can resume your progress, pick up right where you left off. And again, it's fully configurable in the back end. So yes, it took 120 hours, but that was also including the training, the UAT support, and then eventually making improvements as we got feedback from the customer's team. So it's when you think about the volume of events they have, right? I mentioned at the beginning, they have 5,000 events every year, and $50 million in money of the sponsorship and registrations that they manage. They don't want to be doing these things, sending these quotes for 5,000 events manually and following up on them one by one. They need a tool like this to help them automate it. And that's why we thought, even with 120 hours invested, it's a good return on the investment.
I think it was quite effective, actually.
Okay, great. So I wasn't sure based on your reaction if you were like, oh, that's way too much. Okay, never mind then. All good, I'll stop justifying it.
Then the next question, you just answered it. It was, what happens if the user stops the process halfway and quit the system?
Yes, there is a resume progress button. So if you'd like to see a demo of that, I'll be here after the talk and I can show you more what that looks like.
And then maybe a few questions. What happens if the user wants to sign a physical copy or PDF manually?
Yes. So this is a great question, and this is oftentimes something that will be missed in kind of the spec writing process. So you want to remember that the default path should be the self-serve path, the automated online path, but you never want to ignore a very common edge case in this case, which is that some people are old school and they prefer pen on paper. They're not going to be comfortable with an electronic signature. And so there is also actually in the header of the sales order, there's a checkbox that says manually signed terms and conditions. And that's in the case that you need to actually send somebody a PDF or downloadable copy of it. And they can actually download it. So right in the workflow, they can actually download the contract, sign it, send it to you by postal mail, or scan it and send it to you. And then you can check that box in the header of the sales order to reflect the fact that they manually signed and they didn't sign through the e-sign app with Odoo.
Okay, and then one last question. Is there any way to log the event and hold details after being reviewed?
Yes, there's also a way, but that's only for the like the whole numbers and the golf course. Once they sign and once they've confirmed they've watched the video, there's nothing to redo there. But yes, so for the, I guess it could happen in theory that last minute you change the actual location of the event. So up until a certain amount of time before the event, before we lock the sales order from the back end, the user can still change the whole number and the actual location of the event, because that doesn't have a huge impact on the insurance rate that is calculated or the amount that we charge the customer. So you can do it, but they do it manually for now.
Okay, thank you. And one last question, maybe, where can we find you in case people have questions?
Sure, so you can find us at our booth, H5. We're here still today and tomorrow, obviously, at Odoo Experience with the whole Sodexis team. So if you have any questions, come find us at our booth. Otherwise, I'll be here right after the talk. And you can always find us online at sodexis.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.